All right, so I'm in here, some hot summer day, cooking, canning, doing some stuff. My son comes on, running on in. Mom, there's a snake out at the rabbit house. So put on the long rubber boots, because that's what you do around here when you got snakes and stuff like that.
Big around his arm.
Yeah, so I run in, he says to me, Mom, there's a big old snake up at the rabbit house. He says, it's as big as my arm. It's as big. And I'm going like, yeah, right, you know. Put on the boots, come, go get the gun, and, you know, run on up there to the rabbit house. Sure enough, there's this snake that I swear, I mean, honest, I'm not kidding you, like this big around. And guess what? It's a rattlesnake, because it's got the rattles, and it was, you know, doing its thing. So I blast the thing away, take it up to the garden, chop off its head, and leave. Bring the snake on down. This right here used to be in just a nice big porch, open porch, and I had a great big huge table on here that I did all my skinning and tanning and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, bring it on down here. Just start, you know, taking the meat off, filleting it, getting my skin, because I wanted to make a lampshade out of the skin, and chop off its rattles. 13 rattles, I'm telling you. I mean, we're talking a big sucker on this guy and everything. So get all the entrails and throw them in a bucket and leave the meat, you know, the meat that now is laying on the table along with the hide and everything, put in the bucket, walk on back up to the garden because I want to, you know, bury everything. The head's still there, you know, with its eyes looking at you, and it's just there. No body, no nothing or anything like that. So I've got the shovel with me, and I go like this to the head, and that mouth opens up and clamps down on the shovel, and all this venom all running down. No body, no nothing. Okay, well, that's a lesson right there, right? Okay, so go, okay, bury that guy, bury him deep, and so he gets all buried. I come on down, come through the house, onto the porch. My meat is gone off the table. It's gone. At the time, we were milking a lot of cows, and we had tons of cats that loved, you know, getting the milk from the cow. So I'm thinking, I'm cursing the cats, going, damn, you know, do all this work, and they took off with my meat. So all of a sudden, something caught my eye, a movement caught my eye. I look underneath the table, and there is the snake meat moving itself along. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Right, John? So the moral of the story, which I found out from an old-timer that came up soon after all this was happening, and I was, you know, big-eyed and telling him the story, going, oh, all this good stuff, and he laughed. He said, well, Lee, don't you know, snakes don't die till sundown. Whether they got a head on them, whether they got a skin on them, whether they got insides or not. So we took that meat after sundown and we threw it into the fry pan and we ate them. actually, somebody gave me this little frog. This is honestly a real, honest-to-goodness frog. And so I found this piece of wood, which is sort of cool. And the very first thing I thought of, that it looked like a tongue. So I incorporated the wood and the frog and the gourd, and the name of it is There's a Frog in My Throat. I'm doing a series of masks, but I'm also doing lights. Look at this, Jeff. Is this the cutest? Look at this.
And that was
it's
the gourd?
Yeah. And this is the way you change the bulb. There you go. This here is the bottom of the gourd. Okay. So there you go. Is it the cutest?
I like it.
And here's my series of masks.
Mm-hmm.
This is Bad Hair Day. See Bad Hair Day? But all the different ones. Local Arts Gallery. There are quite a few artists in the Clinch Valley where I live. And we all just sort of do our thing and everything. And a neighbor said, hey, for a Christmas thing or for a holiday happening, how about if we all just get together at my house and just bring the things that you make and everything like that. So several of us came and we did our thing. And then, the next day it was like, you know what, let's take this to town. This building was vacant, and I called Mrs. Richardson, and I said, Mrs. Richardson, I am so-and-so, and I have this idea about doing a gallery with all the local people representing and running it as a co-op. And she was very quiet, and I thought, oh dear, she's just going to say, forget that. And she was very quiet, and then she said, that is the best idea I've heard from my store ever. And so that's how we all got started. No, I never studied art, but I guess there's art in my person or something, because I've always really, really enjoyed design, and I'm very visual. So, I'll look at something and see color and see design and things like that. So. Well, I was born in Missouri, and then my father was killed in World War II, and so then my mom moved to New York, and so I was raised in New York. Mm-hmm. But right after I graduated from high school, I came down to Virginia.
When did you move here?
1971.
Oh, okay.
1971.
What brought you here?
Dropping out.
Uh-huh.
Went to Woodstock,
uh-huh.
and realized that there was that we could do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just drop out and join the countryside. Well, I went to college in Virginia Intermont in Bristol,
uh-huh.
Virginia, and knew how fantastic the people are here, and
mm-hmm.
how visually beautifully this countryside is. So just got into a car and drove on down and plopped ourselves into Rogersville, and I just thought to myself, this is where I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I want to have my kids. This is where I want to live. So,
what was it about this place that you liked?
There's a couple of things. The big thing, I think, the people. The people were so wonderful. So what I wanted to be is, generous with your time and not pass judgment on you. And because we were sort of known as the hippies, and
mm-hmm.
and yet they just took us as being at face value there.
Mm-hmm.
And then visually, look at this.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen so many colors of green in your life? And I think that this ground is so terrific. I think that the water here is just so delicious, and
mm-hmm.
everything about, the topography is just
right.
fantastic. This is a 200-acre farm. When we first got here, it was 90 acres, and then over the years, different pieces came up next to it. We worked one of the farms, Mrs. Solomon's farm, and then when she was too old and she moved to town, she sold it to us. So we sort of accumulated as we went. The story behind the house.
This looks like something out of a fairy tale.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm Sleeping Beauty here. You know, waiting to dig it down the vines and find me. It started as being just a cabin, a 16 by 24 cabin, and just it's all rock underneath here, and then beams or trees that we just cut down off the farm, and those were the beams for the in the ceiling, and the neighbors
just kind of built it like the pioneers built it, didn't you?
Oh yeah, with axes, and honestly, yeah. It's, when you see inside, you'll see very much what I'm talking about. Yeah. Neighbors brought us stuff. Everything was like recycled. They brought us windows that that they didn't want, and rocks and everything. So that's how it got started. And then, as we needed another room, then we added another room. Yes, yeah. Went all over looking for the spot. The big thing is for us was that we wanted sort of a south-facing. This is the Clinch Mountain is behind here, and we wanted south-facing. We wanted water, which is right down there. We have a spring, and we just dug it out, and we've got a spring. So we didn't want to be able to have to carry water too far. Wanted privacy, so you look totally around here, and yet it's very open in a way. So. The trees were very important to us too. I really loved wood, and so I really got into the wood carving and wood building things, and just really getting into that.
So your house became kind of a palette, is that right?
Oh, definitely. Wait till you see inside. I can't wait to show you. And not only for myself, but the house became a collection of things that people have made and have given, not so much to me, but just to add to the house. So the house has evolved from not just my effort or John's effort, but from everybody. Young calls it the museum. Young is my son, and he calls it the museum because so many people have added to this place, and I like that. And little kids that will make me something, 30 years ago, I still have that in there, and they come back as an adult and go like, I can't believe that you still have that thing I made you. But that's all wisteria, and you should see the big purple blooms and everything.
Where's that thing planted? Is that like a vine?
Over here.
Oh, it's a vine.
Oh, God, yeah. You know wisteria? I mean, it takes houses down.
Huh.
I have this thing about vines, don't I? Yeah.
This is neat.
See all the levels? Yeah. People say, did you have like a plan? And I said, does it look like it?
So the answer would be? Yeah, sort of.
Well, I don't know. No, I did not have a plan. I just, you built as you needed. Well, this ended up being the second building, because this is the mud room. And when you farm, and you can leave it open.
Okay.
When you farm, I don't know if you've ever done any farming.
Oh, a little bit.
I tell you, talk about the wintertime mud and manure and everything else. So I got so that I just couldn't stand all this stuff in the house itself, because it was just, it was just like this endless thing. We were milking cows, and you like things to be clean and everything.
Right.
So this became the mud room. So that it still has the label.
Okay.
And this is all about the selling of eggs. And this is my little egg setup and things like that.
All right.
Okay? All right, so come on in here. This is the original cabin.
Okay.
Turn on some lights. So this is like 16 by 24, and then there was a little loft up here, and then this was totally open to the ceiling, And this is where we had a pit here for cooking and things like that.
Wow.
And, you know, and standing in front of here in a bucket and taking a shower and things. I mean, like I said before, everything is recycled. I mean, all this brick came from a house that we tore down in Pressman's home. All these everything, all the wood stuff you see, all came from our farm. All the carving that you see, I've done. You know, I got into like making different furniture. You can see the carving there. You know, carving here.
You made a sink out of a tree.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This was one piece, and then you know I cut another piece to make the legs on it. Yeah. Let me put this in some water here. And now we have running water.
Now, you coated it with copper.
And it's lined with copper. Yep. Because it was taking its toll with the wetness.
I love this stove. Where'd you get your stove?
Isn't that great? I used to be in real estate, and I had this listing of this wonderful lady, and she had to get it. I sold the house, and she had to get it moved, and she gave it to me. She gave it to me. Is it great?
That's old school right there.
You talk about cooking a Thanksgiving dinner.
Is that wood burning?
Yeah.
And you still use it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's your only stove?
No, I have a little propane.
Ah, okay.
For heating up stuff and things like that. But this is like. This is my buddy here.
That's for the big meals.
Even got the copper line jacket to put your water in, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
And you made this table and all these shelves and everything?
Made a table. This is my little compost.
Yeah.
The Mick Jagger lips. You know, it has the little vegetables on the legs and things like that.
That's neat. Carrots. And this is all some of your artwork here?
Yeah. And other people, I mean, or just people giving me things. They'll say, oh, I saw that little picture, and, you know, I saw it at a yard sale, and it just looks like it should be in your house. And I'm going, okay, put it on up there. So that's how sort of so much of this stuff is just people giving it to me.
You're almost running out of room, aren't you?
Oh, no, I'll just build another room.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, how do you like my refrigerator?
Is that your full-time refrigerator?
This is like we bought this thing, or someone gave it to me 40 years ago.
They built things to last back then, didn't
they? Using it.
They built things to last back then, didn't they?
You know, I don't know why people need these great big refrigerators. Why? Okay, this was our bathing room for a long time. This was yet another, and I also raised canaries and raised birds out here. And then once we got running water, then we built a bathroom, and this turned into just being, you know.
Was that a bathtub there?
No, we had a regular bathtub.
Okay. Hi guys.
Hi. Say hi. Hi.
Now this is kind of a faux stairwell.
This here was this most beautiful elm tree that was out back, and it got these. I mean, we purposely put the house in this area because of this incredible elm tree. I mean, this was just a little limb off of it, and the thing died from Dutch elm disease, you know. And so I thought to myself, it was so sad, and I thought, darn it, I'm bringing it inside, and it shall keep on going. So this is a way to get upstairs to the loft.
Is this a real stairwell?
Climb this tree.
You can climb these stairs for real?
Oh yeah. So then this became. There's a root cellar. I have a root cellar for my potatoes and all my canned stuff, like right in the mudroom there. So I thought, you know what, I really do need something bigger. And so then I started digging and went, no, forget the root cellar. Let's make it into a really great room. So this was
this an outside wall right here?
This was an outside wall, and this is underground. The ground comes like here.
Oh, okay.
So this was a hill that came on down like this. And, you know, then we put this in, and so this was just a walkway that was along like so. But once we started digging and saying, ooh, nice room. Besides, my great-grandfather made this furniture, and which is quite...
I was going to ask you about your
How
furniture.
about that?
That's
Isn't
cool.
that
When did he make that?
1901, something like that, yeah. Mahogany.
Wow.
Beautiful.
They don't make stuff like that anymore, do they?
No, they do not. So I made all the little kid furniture. I really got into that, and then people said, could you make me one? So, you know, and just things like, you know, the cupboards and, you know, just the different cupboards and things like that, or, you know, different boxes that I got into doing.
So all these furnishings are basically handmade.
Yes, yes. And Bob, we got to get Bob in there.
Yeah, I see Bob.
Yeah. And the beginning was the beams, these large beams that came out of the woods there. And honestly, I was here by myself at the time, and I thought to myself, how am I going to do this? And I had a book, and I know this sounds really crazy, but it showed you how to cut down a tree. You make a notch, and I mean, it wasn't, because I didn't know how to do any of this. You know? No.
The rat story.
The rat story.
Okay.
And so, so the corn is, you know, we're harvesting corn and doing all this stuff. I'm out to here pregnant with April. John heads on out. It was early evening, heading on out and to go milk cows. And I am busy making supper for Kurt and Young and all of us. And so I'm cooking away. I got a kerosene lamp that's, you know, long side, sitting on one of those rock ledges right there, and I'm cooking away. And all of a sudden I look up, and there is a rat. I mean, not including its tail, but I mean a rat like this big, coming down that rock wall right there, right next to me. So it's like, you know, one of those deals, and you go like, okay, now what? So I say, Young. Yeah, it's my son. He's the two of them are in bunk beds up here, and I'm going, you know, we got to do so, you know, got to do something. I said, okay, I know what. So he comes running on down, and I said to him, all right. So I grabbed this poker, and I say to him, and I said, go get yourself that big iron fry pan. And I said, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to stab him, and then I'm going to bring him down to the floor, and you're going to take that iron fry pan, and you're going to whack him one. And so I said, are you ready? And he goes, okay. So I take this spear, and I stab him. And he then, with his yellow teeth and everything, and he is like, just like, you know, going like this at it, and just as mad and aggressive and mean as can be. And so I say, here I come. And I pull him on over like this. His tail hits the kerosene lamp. The kerosene lamp falls onto the propane stove, catches me on fire. I'm on fire.
That's a rough rat.
And so, you know, but you gotta get him though, Lynn. You gotta get him. So I bring him on down, and I put him down like this, and Young, bless his heart, he takes that fry pan and he just whacks the living crap out of that thing. And I'm busy, you know, taking clothes off and beating on myself and putting because the shelf above there were all cookbooks and everything, and they're all on fire and everything. So we did it though. We did it. It was like incredible. So John comes in about a half an hour later, and we're like, you know, you can't believe what just happened. You know, yeah, well, when April was born, she had this incredible red strawberry on the back of her head. Now, I don't know whether it was, you know,
rat related.
Yeah. I don't know.
The time after your first husband left, he decides this isn't for him.
Mm-hmm.
This lifestyle's not for him.
Mm-hmm.
You stayed.
Yes.
Did you?
And I had the 2 little boys.
Just explain to me why you thought that was a good idea for you to stay by yourself with 2 sons in the wilderness with very primitive lodgings.
Wow. I don't know if there was a whole bunch of thought about, like, you know, what I should or shouldn't do. I think it was more, he took the car. He left me with no money. All it was just this little cabin that was right here. And I did actually go down to see if I could get some food stamps and have them help me, and they told me no because I owned the piece of property. I didn't owe anything on the piece of property. So then it was very much of like, okay, now what? I think that a lot of it, Jeff, is that it's in your person to be a survivor. I think I am that person that goes like, I can do this. I'm also, very stubborn. I did love it here. I really did love it here. I felt like I had found a place that created, that I was able to create myself and be myself. I also felt I had these 2 beautiful kids that I thought, this isn't a bad place to be, and I knew that I knew I could survive. I knew it. I don't know why, but
Did you have other options?
Actually, I don't think I really did. I sure wasn't going to go back to New York. Who do I go to? My mom and dad? No, that wasn't going to happen. I was sort of running from them anyway, or their rules and their structure and that whole way of life that was in New York that I ran from, that we had talked about earlier. What would be another option?
Well,
I don't know,
town, maybe a town and a job.
Yeah, and a job. Yeah. No. I mean, I couldn't think of anything that I was qualified to do. I mean, what am I going to do?
Well, tell me, how did you live the first year or 2, first years?
I traded the older people around here. They were very willing to, give me food or pay me to come in and do little jobs for them, or big jobs too. I mean, I remember Clara Jones saying, "I don't mind paying Lee to help me with hay, 'cause she can fling a bale like no one can," or something like that, and actually, give me, $2 or $3 an hour or whatever. And
these were
food too. I mean, just
these were older
too.
people whose whose children had moved away.
So it was pretty much, that they just really took me under wing, and I really liked them a lot. I would rather live with people like that than, people that had a structure that was not my lifestyle. We had milk cows, so we had our milk, we had made our butter, I made cheese, think of everything. The milk cows were like the cornerstone. We raised hogs, so we always had lots of hog meat, chickens, eggs, rabbits. Rabbits are
just kind of, you were self-sufficient.
Absolutely.
Pioneers.
Except for coffee. We both coffee.
How did your life change over the years before you met John?
I became extremely independent in my mind, and I felt a little bit sorry for John when he came, because I had my own mind by that time, and I had things the way that I wanted things to be, and a little bit on that, I can do it stuff, and yeah. But he was very tolerant. Like, I really did not want him involved in any disciplining of the 2 kids, of my 2 boys. And as a result, it worked out very well, because they loved him. He never yelled at them. But he'd do things like, say, back up your mom. So, what else? Just really learning how to do things on my own. How to hold something up by yourself, or what I mean? Or figuring something out. It might not be totally the proper way, but just figuring things out. Taking a deep breath, Remember I was saying to you, I said, let me see how to cut down a tree, you know. All right, now you get a book and you go, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, just doing that sync, you know.
Well, you didn't have a bunch of time cards, so you had time to learn.
Had lots of time.
To teach yourself.
Yeah. And it was survival. It was survival. But the kids and I had a good time. We were having a good time. And as far as John was actually raised in New York, but I didn't meet him until he came down here. He was on a Harley Davidson and was passing on through and got lost and came on in the driveway here and said, you know, I'm looking for, and I said, ooh, that's, you know, somebody that lives over yonder. And he said, well, would you care if I left the bike here and, you know, walk on over the hill and find this person? So when he came back, I was in the middle of doing hay, and he said, can I help you? And I said, well, yeah, I don't have any money to pay you, but I can give you supper. And he never left.
Oh, well.
How about that?
Yeah, that was pretty, it was like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think about this woman who was living in the wilderness by herself? What was your reaction to that?
I thought she was beautiful. And as far as living in the wilderness, it didn't seem that much wilderness. You know, it was kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of like paradise. I mean, it was beautiful, and kind of reminded me, you know, like the way the country might have been 100 years ago. You know, it wasn't scary or anything or intimidating. It was really nice and beautiful.
Well, it must have been kind of a surprise, though, to find a beautiful woman living alone. I mean, that's kind of like something that you would dream about. A beautiful woman living alone on a farm by herself.
Yeah, I guess.
No, just waiting there for you.
Well, I'm not exciting enough telling a story. I don't know. You know, I guess it would be a dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just can't imagine that. That's something you daydream about. That's not something that really happens, you know.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I guess it does happen. Things like that do happen, you know. I don't know why I drove up that road, but it was.
Well, you first were driving down Clinch Valley is when I first saw you, and you apparently were lost or something because you did a U-turn.
Yeah, so I guess it was just, you know,
luck.
Chance.
I think it was meant to be. That's what I think.
You were doing hay or something, and I said, would you like a hand? You said, sure. I'll fix you some dinner. And I came over and had dinner, and then spent the night and just stayed. Just never left. But
you weren't thinking, hey, let me head to Tennessee because that's where I want to be.
No.
No,
I didn't even know.
You sure weren't thinking that some woman was going to grab you up, did you?
Move to Tennessee and meet another woman from New York.
I know, isn't that wild?
Yeah,
it is pretty amazing.
Because I had worked at this job for a while, and it was a pretty good paying job and everything. It was, you know, it was Teamsters Union and stuff. And so I worked there long enough that I could draw unemployment. So, what was it, 6 months of unemployment? It was
it was great.
Summer, you know.
The two of us, or the four of us, because it was Kurt and Young, too.
We didn't have to worry about money, you know, making a living off the land or anything right away. And then, of course, the next year, then we had
it was like, uh-oh.
Reality set in.
Reality sets in.
But it was fun because we were willing to try things, and you know, the old timers saying things like, you know, cows and tobacco.
Yeah,
you know.
They really liked us. They'd come up and you know tell us, you know, stuff like, oh, tobacco and cows. That's how you make money around
And we'd
here.
say, how do you do that? You know, how do you do that?
And I think they really liked us because we were doing what they did, and I think a lot of their children left and went and got jobs in factories and stuff. So the fact that we were doing what they did and that we liked it, I think that they.
Well, they got a kick out of us too, you know, because we were so naive and yet they could make fun of us, or they, you know, we didn't care. You know, it was like, yes, we didn't care.
Yeah.
And because we thought they were great. They were a riot. These people.
So you built this house by yourself?
No, it was definitely a group effort at any given time. A lot of friends that came down, from the good old days up north, and they came down, and it was like just fun. Just this house was just like a fun house.
Kind of a barn raising type deal.
Sort of a barn raising at intervals. That people would all say, hey Lee, how about if we come down, for 4th of July, and 5 people would come, and we'll do a porch, or we'll make something. But then when John came in my life, definitely things, that he became much more of a help, and he likes things that are a little more structured, and that's why this new room here is much more John's influence of being.
It's got square corners.
It's got exactly. Okay. This was an outside door, an outside wall. This is where the stud was for a door to go on into a porch. Okay. Well, the porch fell down. So then you go like, all right, what do I want to do? And I went like, what I really would love? I'd love to have a sunroom because I love plants. So, voila!
Yeah.
No kidding. How about this?
Wow.
Isn't it great?
Nice windows, nice lighting.
Yeah. Really great. Really great. Lots of wood, and I haven't even finished it yet. I mean, it just got comfortable enough. I want to do something with the chimney. Originally I was thinking angle iron on the 4 corners, and then copper paneling, and then copper got like, so you can't afford copper. That's a rattlesnake I killed.
Shoot him, I see the bullet holes.
Yeah, and ate them. Now we're heading upstairs, and originally it was just a sleeping loft there, and we just had like a ladder that went up through the flooring there. But then this became like, wow, aren't we fancy?
Yeah. All
right, so come on up. Oh, and so remember I was telling you that there were no interior doors, and that the house that I got the columns from, that they gave me a bunch of doors. And so over the years, different people have said, hey Lee, you have any doors? And I go, yeah. And so they came and they got all these doors. And I thought to myself, my gosh, I need to put a door in my house. So I got a door.
Okay.
It doesn't go anywhere, but I've got a door.
Okay, that's nice.
All right, now this.
And you've got an elevator thing too.
And I have an elevator thing that was given to me by a man that was renovating a hotel down in Florida. And John, in these days, when he has nothing else to do, he's going to electrify it for me, so that it actually works, because these are like red glass. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we have a little library and my little sewing nook here, and
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah. And every morning, come back down.
So this
people go like, you mean to tell me that you climb that every day and night? And I go, yeah. Well, of course.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it makes me still agile.
Yeah. I'll go those. I'm not.
Yeah. And this is the whole family.
Who's the portrait?
That's John. And that's Lee. Look at Lee.
Oh, boy.
That's a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
I know.
And that was 1980? Is that when?
No, 1962 or something. This here, isn't this gorgeous?
Yeah.
So what we did now is that this is the bathroom, see, because this was an outside wall. So we didn't have a bathroom all this time and needed a bathroom, and so we did this. And then Jenny Coffey hand-painted this, and it is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, she used to call me the bird lady because I raised birds and I like birds. And she put this in because we were doing tobacco, and hummingbirds work the bloom, and Yeah, and all this artwork. I mean, look at what people do. And I mean, not him, but you know, yeah, Brenda Snell, and that's Hike Malacote. I mean, we used to grow sorghum and cook off sorghum, and he sketched that of me, you know, skimming off the sorghum. Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah, that's really nice.
And it's sort of the story of the farm, starting in the winter and going through summer and fall and going back to winter.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I didn't see that.
Story of the farm. No, but that's okay. We ran out of beams, and so that's why it's so low. We said, oh, it's good enough.
Yeah. It's gonna hold.
Yeah. You know, and these little doors, you know, and I thought, oh, I need to have an extension, so I just built an extension. Okay, what we're seeing is the beginning of the winter time, or, you know, January, starting in January, and starting to move down here. We've got springtime coming on, we've got some dogwoods, then we're moving into the summertime with the poppies and all this, and then back to the, you know, the full cycle. I love that whole cycle thing, and back down to winter with the holly and everything like that.
So you carved this also? Wow.
Yeah, and built it.
Built it.
You know. Believe me, I've had a lot of fun doing this. It's not. I think a lot of it is like, you know, what can I do now? You know, honestly, it's just fun creating and challenging yourself. You know, if you never did this before, you know, don't be intimidated by it. That's my point. Is, you know, try it, do it. You know, it'll come out. It'll be all right.
Most people flee from the oppressive poverty of Appalachia.
And hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is. You got to have that passion in you. I really do believe that, in order to, you know, keep going. Or the pride. Or there's something. And I can't even describe it, but there's something in a person that makes them want to do the things that they do. I had it to go to the mountains. I really did, and I don't know why. And it is working hard. Well, when I first got there, I certainly didn't know anything about surviving or, you know, living off the land, and I really did depend on the old-timers to helped me with milking cows and making butter and doing all the things that they had been doing. And so, you know, fast forward then, recently I had some young kids come and work with me, and I found it very curious that they then were looking at me as being the person that was the old-timer, and showing them or telling them or just sharing things with them on how to do this. Or it came quite naturally. You know, it wasn't like I was trying to, you know, be them, or I wasn't trying to be, you know, a big boss, or trying to, you know, be a know-it-all. It just seemed to come naturally, as I think probably that's the way it was when I was told things. And if these young people, they were the same as I was. I really do feel that it was just sort of passing the baton, and, you know, here we are, you know, 40 years later. Oh my gosh, I'm now them. You know, I'm now the old timers that, you know. Here's a shovel that was hand carved by a man back in the 1930s. And it says on it, a good motto, and a big W here, work well and willingly with what you have. And then you flip it on over, and it says D-U-T-Y, doing useful things yourself. Good motto, everybody.
That's kind of your life story, isn't it?
That is. It truly is. Yeah.